Aquarius. This is your February 2024 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, this reading might resonate for you. Happy solar returns for those of you with birthdays this month. It's Romy. I appreciate you joining me on the channel. We are going to dive into February and open up your reading with the energy of the Eight of Cups. Now, you are taking your power back through the course of this month. We have a stellium of energy coming in your sign toward the mid-month, and it's really helping you move towards a greater degree of personal freedom. So how do you want to reinvent yourself, asks February. Now, the thing to bear in mind is we're also going to be balancing that idea, that theme, with a really powerful, rare aspect of the North Node in Chiron conjunct toward the end of the month, which brings about an action for healing, okay? And sometimes that healing can bring about somewhat of a mini crisis, yeah, an internal moment where we just kind of have a now or never, and we really realize what it's going to take. Eight of Cups says it's time to move on, it's time to let go. There's a journey that you are being prepared for, and there's something about the experiences in February that says I almost feel a pressure to create space for this, because you know what, it's ready to enter your life, but you know, the onus is also on you to kind of to go out and meet it. It's not just about sitting back and waiting for it to come in. Now, whether this is like really front and center stage for you through the month of February, or it's more subtle as a kind of secondary storyline, it is going to start to build in how it's making you feel and the thoughts that you're going to be thinking around this theme. And you know, as you move through the month of February, you are just going to be getting more and more prepared. So even if you enter the month just feeling a little bit wobbly or still a bit doubtful or confused or unclear about how you want to approach something or deal with something, you're definitely going to have a shift and a sea change come in through the course of the month to kind of help give you what you need in order to be able to kind of follow through with this. Yeah, so Mercury shifting into your sign from the 5th of the month, really helping you to articulate and have the conversations that you need to. Interesting aspect coming in on the 7th as Venus trines with Uranus, so expect some unexpected things to surface around that time. You might even have an offer or a discussion that feels really fruitful actually and very progressive, but it might ask something of you. You might have to look at making a change to something, and even though that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, might even activate a little bit of fear within you, it also sparks this potential, and you're not going to be able to stop thinking about that. So it is going to ask you to reevaluate how you see something, notably yourself, because there's an opportunity here to demonstrate a greater sense of value actually in the situation and with the people that may be connected to you having these important conversations. There's also a sense with this coming up that I think some of you are definitely considering thinking about moving on or making major changes in and around your career and purpose. Again, even if this doesn't land or happen in the month of February, a lot of the energy and the way that it's gathering is very supportive for you just getting really clear about what you need to do and perhaps putting some of the intentions in place and some kind of loose plans, if you like. We make our way, of course, towards your new moon for the year, coming in on the 9th. Now, it is squaring Uranus, so a little bit of pressure coming in. That's why I was saying that, you know, there's almost this sense of wanting to reinvent yourself, but at the same degree having to kind of normalize some of the messy human experience that it takes to really enable that to happen. You know, the contrasting shades that we go through. Sometimes progress is kind of tedious and slow. It requires a lot of juggling. It requires us looking at the finite amount of resources that we feel we have available, whether that be time, money, energy, and really kind of try to figure something out that's going to be doable for us. Now, what I would say to you is try not to put too much down on paper at this point around that new moon. All well and good to write your intentions and your goals, that's not what I mean, but when we try to kind of get too overly detailed about the exactness of how a plan can work, you might just find yourself a little bit overwhelmed and realize that there's some sort of shortfall, or there's some sense of like, okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to bridge from here to there. This is where I want you to understand that Spirit are going to be kind of stepping in, and you'll start to see that really activated, I think, toward the end of the month, but certainly over the next few weeks, as this total solar eclipse that's going to be looming is going to be bringing about some powerful, interesting changes in your trajectory and the courses that you are moving towards. And so we can't just possibly have all the information to be able to fill in all of the blanks. So it's okay to be able to kind of sit and have the intention and start to really consider things in a beautiful way through the course of February, especially mid-month, when you're just going to be feeling very comfortable with all of that energy supporting you, but also realize that I don't yet have all of the missing pieces here. That's okay. What will definitely come out of that new moon for you, Aquarius, is I want to do it differently. And you know what? You will, but Rome wasn't also built in a day. So it's okay to just kind of allow some of perhaps, you know, the turbulent energy necessary in order to bring about these changes to unfold, okay? 10 of Staffs here, 10 of Wands, telling us that, you know, there is a sense of what you've got going on this month and feeling the weight of that. And I have a sense that there might be a weight of expectation on you. Just make sure it's not you putting that on yourself, because that's not particularly helpful. But you certainly may be feeling into it from those around you. And those external influences can be you know, incredibly challenging. And so remember what your energy is guided by. It's the people that you spend time with. It's the boundaries that you create or not. It's the amount of rest you allow yourself. It's the language that you express. It's how much you nourish yourself. And as we see you preparing to move on, to let go, or to find a way to kind of allow the progression of something, which requires us to make space, you are going to have to also realize what it's going to take. Now, as we said, this is a year, you know, when we talked about in the January soul stories, of understanding that we kind of get out what we put in. And it's the year of the dragon. We're going to be celebrating that right around that Aquarius new moon, indicating this beautiful movement and growth. You might want to check out my Dragon Soul Journey meditation right around that new moon, just to celebrate those energies and kind of connect in with your own, you know, dragon guide at this time. But Mars coming into Aquarius on the 13th is also very supportive. It's just giving you the motivation, the wherewithal, and honestly, the endurance and the stamina for what you need. And I would say to you, like, that first part of the month is the time to kind of address a lot of the more physical, action orientated things that you need, because as we come into the second half of February and you know, we'll shift out of your sign into Pisces, but then we also have that North Node and Chiron conjunction and all of this healing energy, the Virgo full moon coming in. This is where emotions are going to start to come a little bit more front and center stage, and perhaps influence. And you know, you might just find that you just need a little bit more time out to process, to reflect, or to deal with something, some kind of situation that might be arising that again might have come in with a bit of a surprise, with Uranus being quite active early on in the month. And so, you know, we don't want to rush our response, is what I want to say. There's an important emotional response. Now, you have at the center of your reading the Fool. Remember what I said, that, you know, as this energy gathers, this stellium comes in for you, the movement is towards personal freedom. A better world for you starts from within. And so we need to be really careful about what we're saying yes to, because we could end up in a scenario where we let go of something heavy and onerous and end up taking on something twice as much. Or that, you know, if we don't think about it from a slightly more mid to long term, you know, it might be fine in the initial short term scenario, but then very quickly is going to become just as much of a responsibility for you. And that's exactly what we're trying to move away from. Even if you have scenarios where perhaps finances are a little tight, or you do feel squeezed or pressured in some way through the course of this month, maybe that's being highlighted in your relationships, something going on within the family or at work. what we do see coming in is this opportunity to be able to release and break free from it. But it does require quite a bold move from you, something that you might even surprise yourself with, actually, Aquarius. But I really like it. You know, Venus coming into your sign on the 16th, of course, nestling in Valentine's between Mars and Venus. So, you know, this powerful experience of Mars and Venus sort of electrifying and igniting something. So quite a lot of passion coming in, but again, wanting to do things a bit differently around that time. So if it is a day that you celebrate, then just be prepared for sort of just having that feeling, or certainly other people you know, showing up in a way that's a little bit more unusual than perhaps what you might have been used to. But that can be refreshing, you know. Not everyone loves the change. Sometimes the tradition is what you're seeking. But ultimately, I'm seeing with this Fool that you're kind of ready for something different. There's a sense of disquiet when I look at that Seven of Coins. You're impatient, you know. You're like, okay, let me see, like, where's this going? You know, how is this going to take me forward? What does this mean? You know, I'm hearing the words, but like, how does that really translate into something? Now remember, our ascension path also, you know, brings a degree of turbulence, right? And there's a sense this month, especially in those relationships, of mirroring and magnifying. And, you know, that will bring an opportunity to mirror and magnify the light within you, within the relationship. But it's also going to perhaps create a sense of confusion and some uncertainty as you're seeing things highlighted in a way that sort of is difficult for you to then figure out, well, how is it going to work? So I see a lot of questioning from you toward that mid to the end of the month of how is this going to work? Now, you know, as we approach that Virgo full moon, Venus is going to be squaring Jupiter. So there's a little bit of pressure there, especially in and around our sense of, you know, romantic relationships and how we want something to expand and evolve. And yet, you know, there could be a difference of opinion. There could be an critical kind of review of something. So, you know, you might find you're on slightly different pages. And of course, this North Node in Chiron, remember, is going to highlight where victim energy is also holding back one or both of you. But there's a healing through this crisis if it emerges in that way. There's an opportunity here to do something really different. And it almost feels like there's this huge wave in February, Aquarius. It kind of starts out quite gentle, but you're going to start to feel its power and its momentum building. And it's going to carry you in so many ways. And so there's a sort of sense of you wanting to kind of catch the wave and move with it rather than resisting things. And what I do want to say is, where you are having important conversations this month in regards to any really important aspect of your life, okay, I want you to just ensure that you're not shutting things down too quickly, because you might not get all of the answers straight away through the course of this month. It might be a little bit drip feed in terms of either being able to extract that information from somebody, or things coming in that help you to make a more informed, clear thinking choice about what's going to be right for you and what you feel is going to work for you moving forward. Okay, so just don't be too rash. Remember, this is a month where you're going to be really trying to temper that emotional response based on what you've been learning. You're also now starting to feel into the energy of this year in a slightly more significant way. January was a little bit of the hangover experience. You know, now we're starting to see what this new frequency is really communicating to us. And, you know, that's exciting, because with that, you know, you're still aware of what needs to shift, what needs to change. But there is this sense of you also kind of I just want to say being like super ready, like ready to take it on. Yeah. So even when you know this is not going to be straightforward, because I hear you saying that there's a complexity to something. And again, there's just I don't know how I'm going to make this doable for me in my life situation right now. You're going to be surprised how this year helps support the evolution of that. Okay. It's not necessarily for you to figure everything out. Call your guides and start having more of a day-to-day dialogue, and just hold space for some of these ideas and inspirations to come through. Pisces season, of course, remember, lighting up that second house of value for you. And you are going to be reinventing yourself through the first part of the month and really preparing then to kind of take an action to demonstrate that in a really big way toward the end of February. So you may well ask for something that you thought you might never have the opportunity to kind of really receive. And I would encourage that. It's absolutely the time to have these bold conversations. You know, even if somebody turns around and says, you're not ready yet, you can be like, okay, well, fine. What's it going to take? What do I need to go away and work on, reflect upon, you know, invest into? And then you have a little bit more of a roadmap, okay? So if you're new to the channel, Aquarius, our last 3 cards we cover in my extended version of this reading. You can find all of the links in the description box below. I talk for another 30 minutes or so. We're going to look at a personal question, a relationship insight for you as well. But we're in the meantime just going to clarify these cards and see the direction we will be taking that reading for you. Okay, so just going to kick off here with the 8 of Cups. What is coming through for us? We have the energy of the Hierophant. And we also have the Emperor showing up for you here. 7 of Coins coming in with another 2 of Pentacles. This kind of having to manage. I think you might be managing some people as well right now, you know, just kind of managing the situation. You might be asked to step in and sort of try to just make sure that something doesn't unravel. 6 of Pentacles, lots of good grounded energy coming in here, very supportive for helping you to see the possibilities of what can manifest. 4 of Pentacles, strong emphasis around your abundance this month, Aquarius. 9 of Swords, whenever we're taking a big leap of faith, we always activate within us the what if it doesn't work, or, you know, you kind of take things to the nth degree, don't you? You know, you've got a challenge right now and all of a sudden, you know, you get on a runaway train and you start creating stories in your mind of what it means. Really catch yourself this month if that's what you end up doing with a situation that feels really kind of key or critical at the moment. We've got another Fool showing up here. Love that for you. 9 of Wands. Perseverance. That's what this month is about. Page of Swords, 5 of Wands. All the decks I use are always listed below for your reference, okay? Hanged Man and the Empress. Beautiful. You can check out my Sacred Soul support. So you'll find the Dragon Meditation, and there'll also be another beautiful relationship soul journey this month if you are exploring how to evolve and how to connect more closely with somebody important in your life, okay? Let's have a look at the Life Soul Vision Oracle. Of course, this is my own deck. If you're new to the channel, you can check out all of my offers, the gifts and ways to work with me over on my website, romywiser.com. Okay, so we've got energy conversations coming through here. Detours from the divine. We've got soul stories. Earth medicine and magic cast their spells. We've got the Spirit Wolf showing up. I love that for you, bringing that trust and coded footprints. Okay. Beautiful. And let's have a look at the Rose Oracle for you as well. So remember, if you're joining me for the extended reading, Aquarius, we'll look at a personal question for you and also a key relationship insight for anybody in your life right now where you're wanting to get some counsel on the energy of February specifically, as well as going into this reading in much more depth. We have the Rose Thread, Inner Call, Soul Led, the Mystic, Living Courageously. That's the phrase I want you to take from that. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll join me for the extended. Have a beautiful solar returns, Aquarius. Enjoy that beautiful new moon and stellium of energy helping you through the course of this month. You take care. Bye for now.